Basically led right into the main event, which was Adam Cole against Bobby Fish for the ROH World Title. So I don't know exactly how long the match went. It felt like it was probably like 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range. Fish was working, over the knee a lot of the match, trying to get the knee bar submission like he's been going for a lot lately. But Cole ended up kind of reversing and putting him into like a pinning position and grabbed his tights to get the pin. So he ended up winning in, like I said, I think it was like 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range. A pretty good match, I think, for a main event. Obviously, if they would have went longer and done more stuff, it could have been even better. But I think it was pretty solid for what it was.
It was a very Japanese style match too. It was picking on a limb and telling a story about it, and I really liked it. Throughout the whole match, those two guys are amazing and they do great stuff. So I think the whole card was really good, top to bottom. What would you say? What would you give it if you're going to grade it on an A to F scale?
A to F,
yeah.
Not
including E. That's okay.
Excluding.
Why?
E.
Why would they ever exclude
I don't
E?
know. I don't know why they did
Now
that.
that I think about it,
I'd probably go B plus.
I went A minus. I was a big fan of that card. I was a mark for that card. I really was, and just being there live. Oh, and after the main event, so after Bobby Fish loses the match, the heels come out. They're beating up Bobby Fish. The Briscoes come out, and did Jay Lethal come out too?
Who was it?
Jay Lethal, did he come out too?
I think it was
Lethal and the Briscoes, right? Or was it just...
I think it was just the Briscoes because it was 4-on-3.
Right. I could be
wrong.
wrong.
We were waiting for somebody to come down and be the fourth babyface.
I was really hoping for Kyle. You kind of got my hopes up. You're like... what'd you say? Do you think it's going to be Kyle? I'm like...
Well, they're making you think it is over because, you'd think it would have been Daniels would have been the fourth guy, but Daniels was doing commentary during that match and he never came down.
Yeah,
so
we had our eyes on him too. I was looking at him. I was just making sure,
And a lot of people were kind of looking towards the entrance to see who was going to come out, if somebody was going to come out instead of just, they probably weren't just going to end it with a beatdown like that. And then sure enough, Bully Ray came out out of nowhere, which I don't think anybody expected. At least I
no, that was a crazy surprise too. And then he cut a really good passionate promo about how he feels like Ring of Honor is kind of like ECW was, and he has a special place in the heart for the Manhattan Center, which I believe was the Madhouse of Extreme back in the ECW days. And I wonder if they sold food back then.
I don't know. We were there 10, 11 years ago, or 12 years ago now, and I don't remember. I remember beer. They sold beer. I don't remember.
They sold beer, and then we got into a fight.
That was on the train, though.
That was on the train, yeah, not the Manhattan Center.
Time, so we don't.
Not my fault, and not his fault. It wasn't.
Classic.
Did we ever tell the story in the air? Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day we'll have a Joe's Story Corner. Story time with the Stallion. The Stallion Story Corner. I'm brainstorming.
That's okay.
So after Manhattan Mayhem, that's at the top. They're just look at these things. They're just so big.
I'll move.
No, I'll move them. You want me to get the shot?
No.
So Friday night was Ring of Honor's 15th anniversary pay-per-view, which I'm going to tell you something. I ordered it through Fight TV, right? $35 for pay-per-view, which I feel is fair because
it's reasonable in this day and age.
Reasonable. It's RJ says definitely not out of character for Pickle to be thrown down. That's RJ. I was 19 years old, and a couple guys were acting all Brody on me and him on the train, and let's just say the story ended with Eazy-E showing up with a garbage pail full of weapons. I'll never forget it.
Words were exchanged.
Man, we'll get there one day. So. Super Card of Honor. Where was I going with this? What was I saying?
No, you said 15th anniversary show.
I'm sorry, 15th anniversary
$35.
So Fight TV, $35. If you get it on Optimum TV or Fios, whatever it is, you pay whatever you pay, and then you can't DVR it. Fight TV, I paid $35, and I have the pay-per-view in my library forever. I think that's really cool. So I've watched it a couple times because I enjoyed it so much. So the main event of this show was Christopher Daniels, who had won the Decade of Excellence tournament, taking on Adam Cole. I don't know. Do you remember all the match off the top of your head?
I mean, not all of them. They added some stuff to the card. I think they had. I think they opened with Jay White against Kenny King, which was pretty solid.
Yep, that was a surprisingly solid match. Yeah, and they had the 6-man scramble.
The 6-man scramble for a TV title shot, right, which was won by Kazarian.
Yeah, who was in that match? Any idea?
How much did you say there were 6 people?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Kazarian
was in it. Adam Page was in it.
Leo Rush?
No, Leo Rush fought Marty Scurll.
Yes.
It was Adam Page. It was Frankie Kazarian. It was Silas Young. It was Cheeseburger. I'm pretty sure. That's 4, right?
Yes.
Punishment Martinez.
Still want to call him Punishment
was
Martinez.
5. And I'm going to feel really bad that I can't remember the 6th person now. It's going to be frustrating for that man. I feel bad for that person.
No, I do feel bad for that person.
I guess
Joe's going to look it up. Wow. I really didn't have high hopes for this match, only because some of the scramble matches, I feel like things get a little... They get a little... Is bocce a word? Can I use bocce? Like bocce ball?
Yeah, I like that game, actually.
Yeah, me too. It's like bowling, but actually you bowl off the wrong foot. So I feel like that they get a little convoluted, but this match was really clean. It was a really good match. They had a lot of spots, and there was the crowd was super into it, which I think made a difference because for some reason he's got it. Who was it?
It was Chris Sabin.
Really?
Yeah. I would not have remembered that if we tried for another 5
Me
minutes.
neither. But it was a really good... I remember after the match, we were thinking how good of a match it was, and you don't expect much from matches that just get added to the show like last minute. But that was good. So Frank Kazarian won, which means he now... heel bad guy, Biz Cliz member Frankie Kazarian has a TV title shot at Marty Scurll.
That's right.
Next match was Jay Lethal and Bobby Fish. The loser of the Bobby Fish versus Adam Cole match from the week before gets a match with Jay Lethal, and the winner, I think, gets another title shot, believe it or not. What a match these two had. It's funny because I had Jay Lethal on my... I almost said top 5. On my 5 count from 2 weeks ago about most underrated wrestlers, and you had Bobby Fish on your 5 count. And this match was... between like two real deal professionals, the crowd was buying into all the near falls. These guys told, hey, Bobby Fish is really good at focusing on the knee bar and working over the knee throughout the entire match. Jay Lethal is masterful in the ring, and like I said, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. And I thought these two put on one hell of a match.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. Just looking at the card overall, it was probably either, if it wasn't the best match, it was definitely like top 2 on the night. So
which is a lot to say because on a night where every match was good, and there's not a lot of cards you can say that for.
Yeah. So Jay Lethal got the win, so I guess he gets a future title shot. It didn't say when that would occur, but he's going to get a title shot sometime in the future. So
yep.
Then they had the 6-man tag title match, which was the Kingdom against Dalton Castle and the Boys.
Don't do me a favor. Don't edit this, but I was pleasantly surprised by the Boys.
Fair enough.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah, I won't make that a drop.
Yeah, don't make. I think somebody. Never mind. I'm not gonna take cheap shots. I'm really not. I'm not gonna do it.
I think the match was better than I expected it would be.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate that, like I mentioned earlier, right, that Orion ended up doing
that was a brutal break.
His leg hit a steel barricade on the way down on the outside, and I guess it was pretty much broken. I think he had surgery on it already, right? Like pretty much immediately. Like
yeah, he shared a picture of it. You know who I blame though? That jerk job in the front row who didn't move the gate.
Yeah.
I feel like, legitimately speaking, if that were me or you, I really feel like we would have pulled.
It's on that guy. Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
So then it was Marty Scurll versus Leo Rush for the TV title.
Really good match between these two. Leo Rush might be the fastest professional wrestler. He's like 1'8", but that dude is
fast.
Oh,
it's like a toddler. Right.
I'm 1'7", so I could actually call him 1'8", and it'll be okay.
That's not accurate.
These two had a really good match, and Marty Scurll, I think it was Ian Riccoboni who said something, and I thought it was really, really good. He did a good job in the commentary. He said that the chicken wing, Marty Scurll's finisher, isn't a flashy move. It's not a high impact move, but he applies it so well, and he's such a seasoned veteran that's why he gets people to tap out. And I think that's just really good storytelling by a really good professional commentator. It's not a RKO out of nowhere, some high impact move. It's just he's going to lock it in, he's going to stretch you, and you're going to have to tap. And I thought they had these two again. They had a really good match and flashes of brilliance from Benedict Leo Arnold Rush.
Yeah, it's I wish him all the best in
his future endeavors.
Involve pro wrestling, wherever he goes from there.
We'll get there.
Next match was Bully Ray and the Briscoes versus War Machine and Davey Boy Smith Jr., I guess. I don't know what his official name is. Harry Smith. I don't know what you want to call him, but not a bad tag match. It was Bully Ray's first match in Ring of Honor. They had him in the 6-man here. They teased there's some issues with Davey Boy Smith and War Machine as it is, because I think they're the Killer Elite Squad, right? And War Machine have some issues from Japan. So
the deal was it was supposed to be Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr., but Lance Archer got hurt, and Ring of Honor told the story of that he was contracted and he had to be in a match. So that kind of made sense.
Then the next match was a street fight for the World Tag Team titles. It was originally supposed to be
The Bucks
versus Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi.
And then they added the Hardys to the match, obviously, because they had won the tag titles at Manhattan Mayhem, which we talked about before. So it ended up being a crazy street fight. Lots of weapons, right? There were attacks at the end.
Trent Beretta got his ass kicked.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff.
He took like 3 different bumps into the tacks, and then Matt Jackson filled his mouth with thumbtacks, and Nick Jackson super kicked him in the face. And when it's creepy to see the guy come up, like, he's selling the move, but he's obviously, like, pulling tacks out of his flesh. And Rocky Romero did the Forever Clothesline with a sleeve around his arm filled with thumbtacks. So there was just blood everywhere, and they had a really good match. The ending saw the Hardys retain when they hit a swan. Well, Jeff hit I guess it was like a swanton off the ladder through a table. It was a pretty high ladder. So Trent took the pin. Who's just that poor guy.
He is. I mean,
sacrificial lamb.
But he's been doing. I mean, he's involved in a lot of solid matches. I think he's a good wrestler. He seems to always take the pin in a lot of these situations.
He does. Yeah. He's a very good wrestler. As a matter of fact, I just watched him versus Candice LeRae, and God, that guy can. He's
man on women violence. I do not support it.
Well, neither did Trent, which was a good story until she kicked the shit out of him for a good 5 minutes, and then he beat the hell out of her.
Bold.
PWG, doing what they do. Equality, man. Feminism means believing in equality between men and women.
So then the main event was...
Read that in a book.
Adam Cole. What book was that?
Sexism and Humanities, which is a class I unfortunately had to take in college.
I thought it was maybe Green Eggs and Ham. It's a good one. Adam Cole versus Christopher Daniels for the ring. Do you need more water?
No, I do not.
Like it was
bone dry.
It was dry.
Just like...
Okay, Adam Cole versus Christopher Daniels
get some water.
For the Ring of Honor. That's cool. I'll just spitball this myself for the last 2 minutes. Against Christopher Daniels for the Ring of Honor title. So I think the speculation really on this was just that Adam Cole's contract is running up for Ring of Honor. It's supposed to be done. We've now found out by May 1st. So this being their last pay-per-view before then, their next major show is really at the end of the month, so they could have done something there. But the question was whether he was A, going to leave, and then B, if he was going to leave, then what would they do with the Ring of Honor Championship, right? Would they put it on Christopher Daniels here to build up his, to pay off his whole story they built up with him, never winning the world title, 15 years, all this type of stuff.
Did you just say to pay because he's bald?
Nope. It was to space pay off. Yeah. And anyway, long story short, that's what they did. So they had Daniels win the championship. The whole deal with Kazarian was he had turned and joined Bullet Club maybe a few weeks ago. At least it aired on TV a couple weeks ago. And
I think it happened in October.
Yeah, it was taped probably 2-3 months ago. But so he'd been in the Bullet Club. He'd wrestled a couple matches. He wrestled on the Manhattan Mayhem show, as we mentioned earlier, as part of the Bullet Club. And I think it was kind of, I don't want to say it was, I don't think it was obvious, but I think it was certainly out there that the idea was that he had kind of just joined them as a ploy, I guess, to try and trick Bullet Club into letting him into their inner circle.
Well, that's what you had said during the day. I'm such a mark. It didn't even cross my mind. But then once you said it, I was like, that's probably what's going to happen. And it kind of makes sense because Daniels and Kazarian, they're kind of heels at heart. Right. They're heels that people like, So I thought the match was good. I thought the finish was good. And like you said, once you said it, it kind of became obvious, but sometimes obvious isn't bad, And
yeah, no, I really didn't have any problems with anything that they did. I mean, I certainly understand, if Cole's leaving in 2 months or whatever, or even if they're unsure that he's staying or not, right? You can't leave the title on him too late into that. That's what happened with O'Reilly, right? They put the title on O'Reilly, and then all of a sudden a month later he was leaving, and then they had to take it off him right away. Even though they say that was the plan the whole time, I don't really buy that. So that's what they did. Kazarian had come out, he turned on Cole, and then Daniels hit 3 best moonsault evers. Best moonsault. Best 3 BMEs. BMEs, there you go.
I liked how he did 3, and he didn't just pin him with 1. That was good storytelling. Like, it's a moonsault, but it's the best moonsault ever, so it's going to take more than